So today, together, we're going to be pruning 3 varieties of fig trees, the cuttings of which are being donated by Melinda here in Riverside County, where we are today, pruning her Panache Tiger fig, which is a green fig with yellow stripes, the Corky's Honey Delight, which is a green variety of fig with honey flavor, and then just behind that is the Olympian, which is a darker colored fig. Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Gants, where we grow cool plants and author of Saving the World with the Home Garden. And before we get to pruning the tree, I just want to share a few helpful tips as you approach and also consider the planting, if you have not yet planted your fig tree, in regards to strategically finding the ideal location for those plants. So my first helpful tip is to consider planting your fig trees in the corners of your property. By planting them in the corner, you'll be minimizing yourself as well as your guests from brushing up against the branches and leaves, as many people are somewhat sensitive and may develop, some type of an allergic rash from the fig leaves. Helpful tip number 2, even though you may not be allergic or sensitive to brushing up against the leaves of a fig, the sap of the fig has historically been used to treat warts. And so that sap, that white milky sap that comes out of those fig branches as you prune them, can burn warts. And again, you can find that in your research, and again has been historically used for burning warts off your body. So again, if you may not be sensitive to the leaves, you should still be concerned about this sap and getting some of that white sap that comes off of these figs as you also prune them. So my caution to you is that when pruning and interacting with your figs, consider wearing, firstly, a long sleeve shirt, protect your eyes, and wear some gloves. My third helpful tip when it comes to figs is also don't group them. In an experience I had just a couple of years ago with the Dave Wilson Nursery Experimental Garden in Northern California, as well as in another orchard that I planted for my brother in Walnut Creek, the figs that have been grouped, and this is something that consistently happens from garden to garden that I visited, that if you have any issue in your garden with either gophers or voles, as they will eat roots and are specifically for some reason attracted more so to fig roots than they are other fruit trees. But if you've got 3 fig trees, 3 different varieties of figs, and you've got that gopher or that vole issue on your property, they're going to go from the roots of one tree to the roots of the other fig tree, damaging both, compared to you can ensure the health of the varieties of figs you have on your property by if you can scatter them within the garden by putting them, for example, into different corners on your property rather than clumping them together in that same exact growing zone or growing area on your property. Remember, when it comes to those underground critters, your gophers and your voles are predominantly vegetarians, whereas the moles are predominantly meat eaters, eating the earthworms, eating the slugs, and eating the other insects that are underneath the ground. So the goal when pruning your figs is to cut it back down by about 50 to 70% of last year's growth. So while your fig trees are dormant, as these are over here, and here we are now at the last week of January, first couple weeks of February, and the trees again have not yet woken up, it is an excellent time to be pruning those branches that are up to 2 years and greater. This is your best opportunity to cut them as we're outside the last chance of frost date here in Southern California. And as these trees begin to grow in these few short upcoming weeks, it'll immediately begin to heal back on those wounds that we've created today and continuously heal throughout the duration of this year. So again, an excellent time for major pruning. And then throughout the year, spring, summer, and even early fall, feel free to cut back month to month up to 10% of the tree to maintain the shape and also keep your pathways and fruit access between the trees easy for you. Well, let's get started. So fig number 1 is the Panache Tiger. And now we're going to prune the Corky's Honey Delight fig. That's it, we're done. And now for the Olympic. Another tip, the branches that are pointing downwards, I'm actually removing as well so that the tree doesn't continuously grow towards the ground, but instead, again, maintains the vase shape that's going from the ground and then working its way up. All of the branches that are towards the bottom of the canopy and shaded by the upper canopy, I'm also pulling out, as there's no way that these figs are going to develop in a quality fashion without sufficient exposure to sun. So a lot of the fruit you may notice that are hanging on from last year that are rotting on the plant, we're taking them all off so as to not confuse the plant into wasting any energy going into last year's rotted fruit. So we've just collected a ton of fig cuttings in these 3 bags, all individually labeled with the 3 flavors of figs that we just pruned, that the Ivory Organics team is then going to individually wrap and ship to you in the Ivory Organics 4th free fig cutting giveaway. The detailed rules on how to participate was published on the Ivory Organics YouTube channel on February 1st. You'll also find the link to the video in the comments below. To participate, simply click on the Ivy Organics Facebook for winners that are announced on every even day, or you can go to the Ivy Organic Instagram account. Again, the link is also there for your convenience below this video, and the winners are announced there on every odd day of the month of February of 2021. Depending on the brand as well as on the size and quantity, the more fig cuttings, and we know that depending on your order, the more that you purchase, the more varieties that we're going to include and not continuously put more of the same. As so far, we've collected close to a dozen varieties, and in just the last 2 weeks, we've also visited Kevin Chang of the Bare Root Nation, and we've collected figs off of his Cadota Green fig, which is also a honey flavored fig. And he also has a lot of cuttings that he started on his property. And if you reach out to him, again, I'm giving the links to the Bare Root Nation YouTube channel as well as his Instagram account. Reach out to him, as he's got dozens of varieties that are rooting on his property that he may be able to make for sale to you. Additionally, we visited Alec of Nature with Alec YouTube, and again, I'm including his YouTube channel as well as his Instagram account, where we did 2 YouTube lessons, or maybe even a third, and you can guess what those topics are, as Alec specializes in a particular fruit, and we did a lesson called the easiest fruit to grow. And I know we did a lesson within the last month being what's the easiest fruit tree, which is obviously around me, but this is not a tree, but it's another fruit that's even easier than figs to propagate. As you've already watched and learned here on the Ivory Organics YouTube channel, all you need is a fig cutting. We've already scored the bottom of it. We've already dipped it in rooting powder. All you got to do is stick it in soil. As simple as your garden soil, and there's more than a 50% chance your root cuttings will take. Or you can do the other more popular method of doing a vermiculite perlite 50-50 mix and start your rootings indoors where they'll develop, and then you can acclimate them to the outdoors and eventually integrate them into your home orchard. Nature with Alec YouTube had donated to us his brown turkey fig, and I just wanted you to check how massive this fig tree is compared to some of the other fig varieties I'm going to share with you from other donors. Check this out. So here we are now with Nature with Alec's YouTube channel, and this here, he's donating some cuttings for the 4th annual Ivy Organic free fig cutting giveaway, and this here is the brown turkey variety. So when you receive your cuttings and it says Alec's brown turkey fig, you know that it's coming from this variety of fig, which is growing on its own root. You can see that it's got a multi-trunk. It's probably about 20 feet by 20 feet square large. It's got that big of a footprint. And about how many figs would you say you harvest off of this?
So we'll probably collect like 10 buckets, 5-gallon buckets during the summertime.
10 5-gallon buckets off of this tree. That's fantastic. And thank you so very much for your generous donation. So when you receive your fig cuttings, it'll read on there, for example, this one here being Paul's Figo Preto. And since we're here on Melinda's property and taking her fig cuttings, you're gonna notice that it's gonna read on the labels which come with your fig cuttings. It'll read Melinda's Panache Tiger, or Melinda's Corky's Honey Delight, or Melinda's Olympic Variety Figs. Since we visited Alec of Nature with Alec YouTube, his brown turkey fig will be described as Alec's brown turkey fig. For Kevin Chang of Bare Root Nation, his green Cadota will be labeled Kevin's Cadota fig. And the other varieties I want to share with you, and I encourage all of you while it's still on my mind, to be sure to follow and support our gardening friends. It's free by simply subscribing, and also don't forget to hit that push bell notification to stay informed of all of their lessons as soon as they make them available to you. So I'm saving here for last in regards to the new varieties. We've added dozens and dozens of new varieties. So for those of you that have not yet participated or got involved in the free fig cutting giveaway, we are beyond ecstatic and grateful to this individual being Matthew Kindler. And you can communicate with him this way at email 4across2@gmail.com. And I'm putting his email link below this video. You can see it right here on the screen. I'm putting it in the video description below for your convenience. You'll also find all of this information and all the varieties that we're discussing today will all be integrated into the varieties that we've published on February 1st. So you can see all of the February 1st varieties. And if we're out of stock, it'll say that we're out of stock there. But all of this is being added to all of what we have available as of February 1st. So be sure again to check out that February 1st video. If this is your first time watching the free fig cutting giveaway that's going on in the month of February for the 4th annual year. So you can expect this notice to happen again. For those of you that have missed it and watching this too late, being March, April, or May, we'll be doing this every year starting on the February 1st of every year with the rules and the criteria to participate. And notice only goes out on February 1st and not a day sooner. So again, Matthew Kindler, thank you for these varieties that came out of his Oregon fig orchard. And what's so unique about his cuttings is he took cuttings off of his already rooted 1-gallon fig containers. So if you like any of these figs, you can email him and he'll give you the price sheet on purchasing these 1-gallon starter figs that he can ship anywhere across the country. And let's go down the list. He shared with us the Olympian fig, the Marseille, Isha, Celeste, Little Ruby, the Gen Negri, La Turla, Texas Everbearing, Yellowneck, Chicago Hardy, LSU Purple, Bella Di Maria, Gentile Piatto, Polpa, Giallo, Piatto, hopefully I'm pronouncing these right, the Flashetta, Black Mission, White Fig, White Adriatic, Del Oso, Oregon Pacific, an unknown Black Kindler, Peter's Honey, the Violette de Bordeaux, the Brown Turkey, and then the Blackjack. And what's so cool about the Blackjack, and a lot of you have been emailing me about what is the best fig for a container, I'd say the Blackjack is one, as it's a more slow to moderate grower compared to, for example, Alec's brown turkey fig or that mission fig, which will have an average height of somewhere between 20 to 30 plus feet without pruning. With pruning, you can always keep your trees between 8 to 10 feet, but without pruning, these trees can grow to monstrous sizes compared to that Blackjack fig, which has a natural maximum height growth and average. I'm sure some of you may have experienced larger trees in some situations, but the average is between 8 feet and 12 feet. So a container size of anywhere from 5 on the low, but ideally a 10 to 15 gallon size container will easily support the annual growth pattern and easily support the fruit that the Blackjack variety of fig will produce. For those of you living in apartments or townhomes and have limited backyards or looking to put your figs in containers, the Blackjack fig is an ideal candidate, as again, they're not as vigorous and it's going to be more content on a container style life than, for example, that Black Mission or Brown Turkey variety of fig. A quick shout out to some of the original donors. I just want to thank again one more time for contributing towards the fourth free fig cutting giveaway is, again, the Fig Hunter, as well as Edgar Valdivia, Paul Talley, and Matt McGee. Be sure to get connected to also all of the other donors that have contributed towards the Ivy Organics annual free fig cutting giveaway. All of those are listed out again on that February 1st lesson. All of these that I'm sharing with you today that have recently donated, I'm also integrating into that February 1st lesson, and I'll be periodically updating that February 1st list of variety of figs and all of the donors that have donated to us. And if you're interested in donating next year towards the Ivy Organics 5th annual fig cutting giveaway, be sure to reach out to us in January so that we can start collecting your fig cuttings between January 15 to February 15, so that we have fresh fig cuttings starting February 1st through the end of the month. The last thing we're going to do before we leave here today is whitewash the trees. We're either going to whitewash using the Ivy Organic Blue Label, which is the oil-free formula, or the Ivy Organics Yellow Label, which is the 3-in-1 plant guard protection, which offers protection from damaging summer sunburn as well as repelling insects and rodents. So if you notice that there's boring beetles or termites, or if you see pruned branches, such as I'm going to be putting here on your screen, that are more than a year old, those areas are now exposed to the entry of beetles and termites that'll enter the heartwood and begin hollowing out your tree from the inside out. So you're going to want to protect those exposed surfaces, ideally with the 3-in-1 product, as it has those oils to repel insects from entering the tree. And also the Ivy Organic products, unlike latex and tar-based products, doesn't trap moisture, which will result in underlying rot. Ivy Organics dries on porous, which is significantly healthier than using latex and tar-based products, which, one, not only trap moisture, but also when it eventually sloughs off your tree, within a year or two, ends up contaminating your soil for decades. The goal with the backyard orchard is to grow superior fruits and vegetables, delivering the nutrition as well as the health benefit that whatever it is that you're growing on your property is coming into your house, ultimately feeding you, your family, and the community that you share your fruits and vegetables with. Thank you, Melinda, for your generous contribution of fig cuttings today and being a part of the Ivy Organics annual free fig cutting giveaway. If you've enjoyed the lessons brought to you today, be sure to give us a thumbs up, share us with your gardening friends and family, and also be sure to subscribe and hit the push bell notification to stay informed of the lessons as soon as they're made available. As always, keep growing with Ivy Organics, and wishing you all happy gardening.